Now.
Hey, this is John Chen, and you're on Turn on the Damn Camera Now here at TechLearn 2021.
Do you remember the very first night of September? You were acting all nice at the bender, but you ain't so sweet. Are you
Welcome, Jamie and Tracy Maddox. Julia, first in. Whatever you do, don't dance.
You're all talk for no reason. But baby, it's okay, we're even. Keep on leaving.
Can anybody name this song?
Say, do you remember?
Hello, Lori. Hello, Lisa. All the L's are here today. Thank you. Jenny Leslie is here. Deborah. And Crystal. Very good, Mary. Thank you, Deborah. Love the Pulp Fiction poster. One of my favorite movies. Royale with cheese.
Very first night of September.
Yeah, Lisa Marks, if you want to turn on your video, take a risk. Do it all.
Right, welcome everyone. Welcome to Tuesday at 2021 Tech Learn. It is my pleasure to introduce the man that needs no introduction, but I still do it anyway, the author of Engaging Virtual Meetings, Mr. John Chen.
Cause your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well, they're no friends of mine. See, we can go where we want to, things they will never find. And we can act like we come from out of this world, leave the real one far behind.
Okay, can anybody name that song? Just unmute. Let me know if you know the name or the band.
Safety Dance.
That's
Wang
good.
Chung.
With Terry, who was that?
I said Wang Chung.
No, Terry. Safety Dance, and the band is from Australia. That is Men Without Hats. If you saw that, who did that? Oh, the e-learning makeover today was all about hats. That was genius today. All right, welcome everybody. You're going to turn on the damn camera, and I just really want to do a couple things here. How many of you have had challenges getting people to turn on the camera? Right? Yeah, right hand up. Very good. Okay, good. How many of you wished that you could just lean into the mic and say, turn on the damn camera, right? Put your left hand up for that. Now, we know as trainers we can't do that, and that's actually not the point of this class at all. I'm going to open up with a little bit of a story, and do me a favor, like on a scale of 1 to 10, I would love to know, how do you feel, how safe do you feel in this meeting now? And it's totally okay. Again, I don't care if you chat 0, like which is I don't feel safe at all, 10, right? It's totally up to you about what the gauge is here. So go ahead and chat that, and while you do that, I'm going to just tell a little story. You know, in one of my classes, I've been teaching here online. I've actually been online for 35 years. And in this past 19 months, it's amazing how much online I've been able to do. And I had a Japanese woman. Her name was Yoshi. And she came into one of my classes. And luckily, she logged in a few minutes early. And she came in and she unmuted her mic and she did this.
Mr. Chan, my name is Yoshi. I'm calling in from Japan, and I just I want to tell you that my camera is going to be off and I'm going to be muted the whole class. Okay, thank you.
And I said, thank you, Yoshi, thank you so much. Thank you for letting me know, right? And so, yeah, so she went on through the class, and at least I knew that not to really kind of call on her, but I knew that she was present. And but then later on, all of a sudden, something happened. She chatted. I thought she told me she wasn't going to chat. And she started chatting. So does anybody know why she might have started chatting? Just unmute or raise your hand here. Why would she start chatting when she said she wasn't going to do that? Let's go to Megan.
I think you let her feel safe by letting it be okay that she wasn't going to participate in it. So you created a safe environment for her to feel like she could show up how she needed to.
Thank you so much. So Megan, have you ever heard of Google's research called Project Aristotle?
Yes, I have. Actually, I used it in my presentation to get the job that I'm in.
Okay, so for the rest of the people here, right, Megan, educate us about what you remember from Project Aristotle.
I remember what they learned was that the most important part of team development is that they have psychological safety, that people feel like they have a safe environment where they can um, show up as themselves and be able to contribute and not be judged for that.
Thank you, Megan. Here, I'm going to leave you up if you don't. Is it okay if I leave you up for just a second?
Yeah, sure.
So here's the part about there we go. Is let's see, Project Aristotle from Google. The 18 months, here I'll give the kind of story. 18 months they did research and they were asking the question, what do all of our high performing teams have in common, right? And they thought it was like the equipment or the building or the leader or the composition of the team. It turned out it was none of those things. And so, because they had wildly different teams. They had teams that were like structured and made milestones and like finished on the deadline. Right? And then they had this team that was crazy, looked like they were going to crash in a wall, and the last second, they create a miracle. And so they had to go, what does these 5 teams have in common? Right? So let me just go through these here. Right? Number 5 is impact. Right? Team members think their work matters and creates change. So all of you, if you manage a team or you work with a virtual team or whatever, these 5 things, again, I spent 24 years doing team building. I still do team building. And these are the key aspects with it. So 5 is impact. 4 is meaning, that work is personally important to team members. 3 is structure and clarity. Team members have clear roles, plans, and goals. 2 is dependability. Team members get things done on time and meet Google's high bar of excellence. And of course, psychological safety. I don't know if you can see that, Megan. Can you read that definition there?
I think I can see it. Team members feel safe to, that part's blurry, to take risks and be vulnerable in front of each other. So team members feel safe to take risks and be vulnerable in front of each other.
Yeah, yeah. So Megan, again, what's something that you remember from this, or like these 5 that you use in your teams now? So I'm sure if you researched it now, I'm sure you've hopefully adopted some of these pieces.
Yes, actually, I push psychological safety in a pretty big way here. I'm at a hospital, and we're getting ready to do a redesign of our Zero Hero program, which is a program that helps to create. The goal of it is 0 patient harm. So you want to be a 0 hero, that there's no patient harm. Actually, we were the first hospital to introduce that, so we're pretty proud of that. But we're doing a redesign of it, and I'm getting pulled into that. And psychological safety will be a pretty big cornerstone of that. Because that piece of being vulnerable with each other and being able to share and being able to feel like you can say that a nurse can say to an attending, hey, I think something is wrong here, is a pretty critical piece of being able to implement that. So we want to be able to incorporate that into all of our training.
So Megan, as a frontline worker, thank you, or being, connected frontline worker. My dad is a doctor, my mom is a nurse. My grandfather was a head researcher at Eli Lilly.
Oh, nice. So you have all kinds of connections to the healthcare world.
Thank you so much. So everyone, let's say thank you to Megan. Let's give Megan a little round of applause. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's go ahead. Donna, Karen, let's hopefully you can find somebody else for me. So what I want to do is I want to introduce a superhero called Captain Win. For those of you who like to take notes, I'm going to tell you 10 things. And I promise not to be cruel to tell you 9 of them and not tell you the 10th. That is a speaker trick, right? Tracy laughed, thank you. Captain Win. So the first C is, can somebody who believes that connection before content is important? Can you raise your hand or unmute? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? This will be the longest TechLearn meeting in it. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Robin. Okay, let's bring Robin up. So while Robin is coming up, Peter Block gave a quote about that we must establish personal connection with each other, connection before content. Without relatedness, no work can occur. Robin, what does connection before content mean to you?
Means that you emotionally feel safe and trusting to be with those people because somehow you've made that connection, and now I feel comfortable and safe actually listening to the content.
Yeah. Do you have any practices to do this in virtual meetings?
Yeah. Reach out, ask questions. Well, like what you're showing us here, example leadership, right? You reach out, you talk to people. You also shared something about yourself, which makes me start to think, oh, I can relate to that because I have parents in the healthcare field. And so I'm making those connections, which build that bridge to feeling safe, to now I can now I'm paying attention to your content. Right.
Oh, thank you so much, Robin. The easiest tip I can give you, connection before content. Number one, there is a lot of research. This is not just us making this stuff up, that says that if you take a little time before you get into your content to connect like this, like Robin and I connecting, or anybody else, even just talking about songs or anything, you'll find that the attendees will be more engaged. They'll learn more things. People will retain more. So there is actual science that goes along with this. And the easiest way to do this to me is to open a meeting, 5 to 15 minutes early, sometimes as much as 30 early. So I've 30 minutes early. In my conference that I just recently had, I told people they could log in up to 30 minutes early, and we just sit and chat and really get a chance to talk. So in real meetings, right, you could do that if you came early to the meeting. You would talk to somebody one-on-one over coffee, bagels, snacks, things like that, and before the meeting got going. So why not do that here in virtual? So connection before content. If you want to increase the psychological safety in your virtual meetings, the number one tip I can give is connection before content. Let's give Robin a round of applause. Thank you so much. Okay, does anybody fly in an airplane? Has anybody flown in an airplane in the last year? I have actually not. Oh my God, let's bring in Sharon. Oh wait, I'm gonna bring Dixie. Hold on, I'm gonna bring Dixie because I haven't talked to Dixie yet. I know Sharon.
Sharon flew in a space rocket.
No, I did.
I know, you just worked at NASA. Okay, hey Dixie, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, where are you calling in from?
Redfield, South Dakota, from the South Dakota Developmental Center. I work with people, I'm in the training department, training staff to support people that have developmental disabilities.
Oh, well, thank you for the work. I've gotten to do some work in Arizona with an adaptive audience, so I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so where'd you fly to?
From Sioux Falls, South Dakota to Houston, Texas.
Oh, Houston, Texas, that's Sharon's country. There you go. She owns it.
I have family that live on the coast, so.
And it was a family event, yeah?
Yeah, we did.
Cool, and so, there's like all these airplanes, like actually in the peak of US aviation, 5,000 airplanes can fly in the sky at the same time. Why don't they crash into each other?
Air traffic control.
So have you ever had a virtual meeting where everybody talked, especially a family meeting? Speaking of family, have you ever had that?
Yes, for sure.
Can you describe what it was like?
Well, as soon as two people are talking at the same time, it kind of cancels out one or the other. They both, the technology makes it so that they're both quieter and you can't understand, what either one of them is saying. So.
Yeah, so all of these things, again, what I'm talking to you are factors that how can you increase psychological safety? And what I love to tell people is like, this is what I've been building in this box from the moment you logged in to this meeting, is how can I create more psychological safety inside this box? And one of them is air traffic control. And just so that, one person can talk at a time. Hopefully or not hopefully, but I've been in them too. Those meetings that go off the rails, right? and it's a little bit crazy. And so, if you're the host of that meeting, I have this to tell you. It's kind of your fault. I mean, it'd be like flying with no air traffic control, right? That would be a mess in America. And if you're the host of the meeting, because you have control and you don't use it, right? That's really, really the key. So Dixie, what do you do to is there any simple techniques you use to control air traffic control in your virtual meetings?
Well, typically we start off with just kind of some ground rules, and one of them is that people typically, if it's a smaller group, if it's less than 10, we'll usually say, it's okay to stay unmuted as long as you don't have a lot of background noise. Otherwise, we just ask people, especially for delivering content for teaching purposes, training purposes, then, we ask that they stay muted and attempt to, just come in and out whenever they have something to say. So that's probably not best practices, but it kind of helps to keep some of that talking over each other down. So.
Perfect. Everyone, let's give a round of applause for Dixie. Thank you so much, Dixie.
Thank you.
Hey, Karen, bring yourself up for a sec, if you don't mind. So today, one of the other things I can tell you, Dixie, too, is the next P in Captain Win is for participation. And so, find a way to participate, right? If everyone here, just do me a favor and chat me, like, what's something you want to know from this class, right? This class is called Turn on the Damn Cameras, by the way. And so, and if you want your camera off, it's actually, to be honest too, it's not even about turning on your camera, but it is about participating. It's actually participation to me is more important because I know some people either don't have the technology or they can't, for whatever reason. I'm fine with that. That's actually not the goal of the class. I just thought it'd be funny to name a class Turn on the Damn Camera. I laugh every time I get to say that. So Karen is here too, and like back on air traffic control, one way to participate is to delegate a role. So Karen, can you tell people what you are responsible for today in this meeting?
Sure. So this is a program that I have produced with John before, so I'm kind of familiar with it. So I have certain chats that I have lined up that are useful links for you to learn about psychological safety and things like that. Also, I'm not sure if anyone noticed, but some people might have an emoji by their name because I'm renaming people as we go as well.
Does anybody know why she would do that? Please unmute and let me know. Why would you have an emoji by your name?
Because you've already been spotlighted.
Out.
Oh, there you go, Sharon. That's right. So it's an engagement piece, which is that way too. One, it's a very quick way for me as the speaker to know who has spoken and not spoken. So I'll most likely not choose that person, try and get somebody else, and a way to see it. And also, other people come back later in the program and they're like, "What is that emoji?" So first off, I have engagement, and then the second part is, wait a minute, why did Sharon get an emoji? Where's my emoji, right? And so it's another great piece. Karen, anything else you want to add?
No, just like I find the emoji thing one of the best tactics that you use because if you're competitive like me, you want that gold star. and it might make you a little more willing to say something whereas you might not have 5 minutes ago. So I think it helps a lot.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Karen. Let's see if we can find somebody else. So the T here is that there is always a way. Has anybody ever MacGyvered something in a virtual meeting to get it to work? If you have a good story, please let me know. Unmute. MacGyver. Bueller, raise your hand. Hello? Come on, nobody's MacGyvered anything. This was like, oh, Robin, we already brought you up. I love you, Robin. And somebody else. Who's MacGyvered something? Oh my gosh, Tracy. Yes, Tracy. Tracy, what did you MacGyver?
So we and my coworkers in this class, and she knows what I'm going to talk about. We are doing training through Teams, and I have been in our lab, which we've set up as a studio space, presenting class. And every time I teach a class, something goes wrong. And we're trying to figure out like what is going on in the building to cause it. So every time I share my screen, a PowerPoint, anything, there's major lag, and the lag is between 2 and 7 minutes sometimes.
Whoa. And
so the first time it happened, we just were like trying everything, and Mary Masterson, who's in the session, ended up just sending the PowerPoint and sharing from her end because she happened to be at home and it was fine. So every time we do this, we're ready for like our Swiss Army knife of trying to make it work some way, somehow.
And what'd you do? I didn't hear the solution. I don't hear the MacGyver.
Mary actually shared the PowerPoint from her end. She was at home. And so then that's how we got through class, was we tag teamed it.
Perfect. Yeah. By the way, that is, if you haven't already started working, Plan B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, all of the producers have been asking our speakers, right, for duplicate decks. And just last week, I had a top keynote speaker who thought she sent me a deck, but she sent it as an attachment in an email. And it was too big, right? So I never got it. And so she lost control of share screen in Zoom. And I said, and normally I have the deck, and instantly as a producer, we could have gone along, but because I didn't get that deck, I finally got some attendee feedback, and it's like, I was so disappointed not to see those slides. We have procedures for this, but that's what happens when you don't follow that around. So Tracy, thank you so much for sharing that. There's always a way. So that's the one piece is that we found with people, Karen and I sing karaoke every Saturday at 7 o'clock. By the way, you're all invited. And invariably somebody has some tech problem, especially if they're new. Like, I don't even know how to do this. So we walk them through that, and if something doesn't work, we try something else, right? The notorious one, by the way, is Chromebooks. Anybody here have to deal with Chromebooks? No, that says Elizabeth. Erin says, yeah. They share sound differently, and so you just need to know that, and that's something that we found. All right, so speaking of which, is there somebody here who likes to say thanks to their people? Anybody who's like to say thanks? Is that Elizabeth? Oh, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Hey, come on up, Elizabeth. Where are you from, Elizabeth?
I'm actually from Burleson, Texas.
Is your last name is Burleson and you're from Burleson, Texas? Is the town named after you?
Well, of course, no.
Oh, sorry. Genius. All right. And so what's powerful about acknowledgement for you?
Well, do you want to do things for nothing? And thanks are free.
Thanks are free. Yeah, look at this. It's a simple gesture with a powerful result. So one of the ways to also increase the psychological safety in your meeting is to thank people. So Elizabeth, can you do me a favor? Anybody who you hung out with or ambassadors, take a moment to thank like 3 or 4 people that you see somewhere in this meeting.
Well, so anybody that I've ever hung out with ever?
Sure.
Well, so I mean, I know Elizabeth Baker because she's my thing one. And thanks, John. You've taught me so much already.
Oh.
And Tracy, your knowledge about Plan B, C, and D is amazing.
Genius. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Again, what we're trying to do, again, it's free and it's easy, but it's amazing how many people forgot, right? But in a meeting, especially like this is the first time some of us have met, right? If I don't do something like this, thank you, Elizabeth, for contributing, for offering to come up. Go back to psychological safety, right? When Elizabeth comes up, she's taking a risk in front of her peers, right? And so I want her to make her feel safe in that. And even if she does it, but no other people didn't come up, they'll see that. And they'll see that, one, that she came up and she didn't get harmed, right? Do no harm. I got zero harm, whatever, zero hero. I'm a zero. I'm hoping to be a zero hero today. And the second part is that if I say thank you to Elizabeth, other people will see that and going, wait a minute, maybe I should participate too. And so that's kind of like, this Yoshi story that I told at the beginning. The more and more safety you get in the environment, the more engagement that you have. By the way, how many of you have ever had Zoom fatigue? Elizabeth, you ever had Zoom fatigue?
A couple times.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a session so engaging you forgot what time it was?
Yes, actually, yes. And those are the best because not producers, the presenters are so engaging that you don't mind being there. And my dog is trying to do strange things. They want you to be there, and so you want to be there, and so
yes,
you feel, you thank them. You're wanting to be there. So yes.
As trainers, go back to that skill that you all developed in person, hospitality, and bring it here.
That's actually what that's kind of where I was going with this. I was a waitress whenever I was in college. And so my daughter always notices that whenever they come to the table, I always greet them by name.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I'm a human, they're a human. And I want them to know that I acknowledge them as a person, not just as a person that's serving me. And so that's why I said your name.
Oh, well, thank you, Elizabeth. I can tell you I'm going to go to a 3 Michelin star restaurant in December. And we have been there almost every year, once a year for 7 years. When they come in, they know every single person's in my family's first name. Wow. That's a wow, all right? I can tell you I've been to 1,000 hotels when I used to travel. Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. Is that only one hotel I've been to knew my name by the time I got to the front desk. I talked to the GM. He said they have a system. It's one of their KPIs. All right, key performance indicators is how many people can we address by the first name? And it worked like this as a team. When I got out of the cab, right, the gentleman who got my bags, the bellman, asked my name. He says, may I ask your name? I said, I'm John Chen. He radioed into the front desk. My keys were waiting for me at the front desk, able to address me by name. 1 out of 1,000 hotels. If you're in the hospitality industry, right, take note of that. Elizabeth, thank you so much. And we're going to bring our next person. Has anybody ever asked a question and got crickets? No. Oh my gosh, Aaron. Okay, Aaron, you got to come. Aaron Vanderberg to the front stage. Hey, Aaron, how you doing? Where you calling? Oh, I love the mountains. Where are you calling in from?
Hello, I am calling from the non-mountainous region of Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Okay, so do me a favor. Ask the audience this super awkward question, hopefully exactly the way you did it, and let's just see what you asked.
How many of you have already completed the training before being here today?
Nailed it. Okay, really? Wait. Here, can you do a high five? I don't know which side you're on. Other side. Yeah, okay, that's good enough. Perfect. Okay, good. So Aaron, one of the things that I discovered over the past 18, 19 months too it was this. This is what I call the invitation. Trainers, the way you ask your questions increase or decrease the odds of anybody answering them. I'll say that again. The way you ask your questions increases or decreases the odds of people answering them. And so I found this because I was coaching some people. 6 people were going to be breakout room facilitators, and they were kind of new. And I came in, and so they did this. They did exactly this. Let me see if I can repeat Aaron's questions, right? How many of you completed the training before getting here? Anybody? Anybody? Nope? Okay, good. We're going to move on to the next question. Right? As opposed to, really doing these things. So Aaron, think of another question that you really want to ask this group, okay? So as you're thinking of that, I want you to do 3 things. Number 1, after you ask the question, is tell people specifically how to participate. So you choose like unmute or raise hands, okay? The second one is give choices. So I'll probably ask for 2 choices because the one thing about here in virtual, it's in 19 months, we still don't know exactly. Every meeting has a different standard about how to participate. So tell them what to do. And the third thing I want you to do is just sit on your hand. After you ask the question, sit on it, right? And wait until somebody responds, and we're going to bring that person up, Karen. Okay, so Aaron, do you have a question you would like to ask this group?
Yes, I do. Do any of you have questions about Microsoft Teams? If you do, please raise your hand.
Ooh. That's a head scratch, Don, not a hand raise. By the way, I have produced a 200-person conference on Teams. I'm actually one of the only few. We actually delivered an entire course on servant leadership on Teams. Really, honestly, who has a question about Microsoft Teams? Oh, Lisa Marks. Let's bring up Lisa. Hi, Lisa, what's up?
Hi, I was wondering if you can schedule a meeting from a chat.
Yeah, sure. Here, watch this. I can schedule a meeting from a chat, so thank you. Did you have a Microsoft Teams question?
Yeah, from Microsoft Teams chat.
Oh, okay. So what I just did here too, by the way, is I just had a button for that, Lisa. And so that actually goes to Microsoft, goes to my booking. I could actually change the link to either be Teams or to be Zoom. So in this case, currently it's Zoom, but I just want to let you know that you could do that. So, and so that's one of the pieces around here in Teams. Ask this to Lisa. Did you know that Teams is the only thing that has something called NDI in it, which allows you to take every single video. There are 54 video streams right now. You can get them individually, and you can actually change and use that in a broadcast. Did you know that it existed?
I did not.
Okay, well, there you go. So Lisa and Aaron, thank you so much for showing this. So let me just repeat what that here in the invitation. As you design your course, especially when you ask questions, work with your trainer or whoever is delivering, and take these 3 tips, right? Formulate a question that can be answered, right? Tell people how to participate, give them choices, and then be comfortable with silence. Be comfortable with silence. So has anybody, so go ahead, Karen, thank you so much again. Thank you, Lisa and Aaron. Has anybody said sorry a lot in their lifetime, like perhaps a Canadian or a, London? Oh my gosh, Nikki Hanna. Busted, right? Nikki Hanna, you have the best game chair ever.
You, hey? Look at that.
Niki, Nikki Hannon. So Nikki, where are you calling in from?
I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Oh, there you go. Okay, great. So
I am
what?
a Canadian and I say sorry all the time, even though I'm not sure what I'm sorry for.
So what is? Why do you say sorry so much?
I don't know if it's a silence filler or it's just me wanting the person to know that I acknowledge, I don't know, sorry for whatever I might have done before, or sorry for what I am about to do. So it's kind of like a blanket statement. So whatever I screw up on, I'm sorry.
So while it's, I think I appreciate it, Nikki, which is like at least you're trying to be cordial. What I invented was in April of 2020. I just got really sick of people saying sorry for stuff in virtual meetings they had no control over. I'm sorry my dog is barking. I'm sorry my kid is here. I'm sorry my mic doesn't work. I'm sorry my camera is black, right? So a lot of times it was not their fault. And one of my friends, we created this thing called the No Sorry Zone, and my friend Kathy Armias actually made me this sign. If you can't read it, it says, "I'm sorry is not necessary because we're all doing the best we can." And what I wanted to do is create a no sorry zone. This is another level of psychological safety. I wanted people to do this. Just inhale with me. Ready? Inhale. And now drop your shoulders. That's how I wanted you to feel in my meeting. And if you go back and play back a little bit of March and April 2020. Anybody have anxiety like all the time, every day? Yeah, right. So that's what we were talking about, is that I wanted this place to be a respite, like a little oasis of that. And so what I did is created the no sorry zone. In fact, so Karen is showing now that we actually built, this is a sign, I know I'm green screened over here, but we actually have paddle signs so that you can show people that this is a no sorry zone. And when people who hang out around with me all the time hear somebody say sorry, Nikki, they'll jump on you. They're like, "Oh, Nikki, let us just tell you." Like, we have to stop the meeting for a moment. And I don't have to do it. Somebody else will do it, right? Well, Nikki, this is a no sorry zone. You can say sorry if you want to, but you'll never have to again, right? Unless you really hurt my feelings. Okay, Nikki? Excellent. Nikki, do me one other favor. Can you, you're a Canadian too. I believe you're a welcoming kind of person, right?
I try to be, yeah.
Okay. Do you speak a couple languages?
I do. I speak Vietnamese, and I don't speak it very well, but I do understand and read French because that was my second language.
All right, great. Can you just do a couple like hellos to some people in 3 languages? I think I heard English, Vietnamese, and French.
Yes. So hello, everybody.
There you go.
Bonjour.
Go ahead and pick 3 people out by name.
My name. All right. Carrie Parsons.
Yes.
Bonjour.
Oui, oui. Next.
And then I'm going to pick on Oren Johnson. You know what? I don't know that we have a special hello in Vietnamese, so I'm just going to say hello.
There's a greeting. Isn't there a greeting? There's some form of...
I guess you can do ciao. I think many of us think ciao is an Italian. It's actually also a Vietnamese. Hello. Yeah.
Good to know. Look at Angelica's like, oh yeah, like we're all ready. Okay, so perfect. So thank you so much for that, Nikki. You actually helped me cover 2 points. So W is welcoming, and I'm going to go forward and back. N is names, right? So one of the best ways to truly connect with a prospect is to remember their name and use it in a conversation. So take advantage. Zoom, for the most part, has people names. And we make jokes all the time here, especially in this platform, that when you log in and you're a speaker, you're host 500. So I would go around and I would just call you host 500 a lot. Hello, host 500. So glad to have you here. And actually, that's a gentle way to remind one of our speakers to rename themselves. But yeah, so use names, things like that. You'll see me all the time, like Ash, right? Robin, Carrie. But one of the other things to do too is go through the list here with a bunch of people without cameras. Hello, Sharon Manson. Hello. Oh my gosh, Stephanie Horvath, you had the greatest comment in the last section. Sue Austin and Tara Healy. Thank you so much. And Yoshihiro, I know this is not a story about you. Yeah, see, Stephanie? Look what just happened there, too. I said Stephanie's name, and she turned on the camera. Right? I didn't tell her to do that. That's really the secret of this class, by the way. Turn on the damn cameras is the worst way to do that. One of the ways to do that is engage people and let them figure out when they feel safe enough to turn their camera on or that they feel inspired to do so. That's what you can do as a trainer. So I'm going to go back to the last point here, the last I, so we can get them all. I is impactful, right? So impactful, be impactful. We're trainers. We have life-changing stuff, right? Be impactful. I got to do a shout out. I think it was Rob or Ron showed a video of a guy losing 100 pounds and learning how to do yoga. Was anybody in that session? Yeah, I think so. Maybe. If you don't, go back and watch it because it's really, really good. It was impactful. And so again, what we're talking about too, no, there's never Zoom fatigue when you're engaged. There's never Zoom fatigue when you're impactful. And so speaking of impactful, I want to share this last piece here with you, which is how to take it deeper, because now we're 19 months in the pandemic. Now is the time to figure out how do we take our meetings and bring more meaning to them, more purpose. And so I have this cool acronym, DEEPER, and it says go deeper. If you want attendees to go deeper, you got to go there first, right? Number 2 is experiment. Nobody knows how to do it right now. This is such a new format. Experiment and figure out what to do. So like those who were kind of timid about playing with a platform, break it. Come on, people, break this stuff, and you'll find usually that you'll discover a new feature. Emotional, right? Emotional content is really where engagement is. You know, we had a gentleman who said that his somebody, or I think his wife, was diagnosed with cancer. The meeting stopped. Everybody started chatting about, like, you know, sending support to this gentleman. And so emotions is really something important. I know that all of you trainers have it, and we need to use it here on virtual. P is for perform. You know, do something different. Sing, dance, you know, use some other kind of performance, spoken word. Something else like that is also engaging. E is about exposure, which is like leadership by vulnerability, which is one of the ways that you can gain more with that. And the last one is breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are the third most engaging tool. And I hope I don't lose anybody, because we've seen statistics that when we do breakout rooms, sometimes people run like crazy. I'm not sure why, but I think they're one of the most engaging things once you get in there, because we're going to do this last exercise. Has anybody ever trained on Patrick Lencioni's 5 Dysfunctions of a Team? Anybody? Raise their hand. Oh, Josh, come on up, Josh. Let's bring Josh up. Josh, what's the most important exercise? You know the childhood story. Can you describe it to people? Josh Yevelberg.
Childhood story. Oh God, I don't remember the childhood story, honestly. It's been years, but I had to write a whole thing on teamwork. So what was it again? Can you remind me?
Yeah. So this exercise we're about to do, you're going to be put in a breakout room with at least one other person. If your room is not active for whatever reason, move yourself, okay? Jump into somebody else's room, it's totally fine. So you remember he said this is one of the best opening exercises he still uses all the time when he's consulting with groups, even to the CXO level. And he said to create psychological safety is to have everyone share a challenging childhood story.
Okay. Right.
Now you remember this, Josh?
Yeah. So yeah, everyone should be sharing a childhood story. That way you can kind of get to know your audience and see the commonalities and work through them. So
Josh, can you share a short childhood story, but something challenging from your childhood, just as an example?
Okay. I was always kind of small growing up, and I had to become I was trying to play goalkeeper in soccer, and it was always very challenging trying to compete with the larger individuals, but yeah, worked really hard at it, and then ended up on some really good teams, but still didn't make the pros. So it was kind of challenging at the end of the day.
Well, I appreciate that, Josh. My kids were in the -1% percentile of height, right? That was my gene, and I was definitely small growing up too, so I have a lot of empathy for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all of you in a breakout room for 6 minutes. Karen, give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Great. And Josh, will you just count down 3, 2, 1? Share a childhood story. Split the time between you and your person. If your person is not talking, jump rooms. We'll come back and we'll close up the session. So Josh, count down 3, 2, 1, please.
3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Trap, money, money.
Hello.
Hello, and we have a couple of people that'll stay here in the main room with us.
Great. Hi, Megan. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Do you mind sharing a childhood story?
Sure. I was an exchange student in high school, and
Uh-oh. Oh no, did Megan get assigned?
Oh, it says not joined, but apparently, what is?
Oh, there we go. She did get us in. Bring her back. I don't know. You'll have to find her through the list. Let's see. Who else is here? Marianne?
Got her.
Oh, good. There we go. Hi, Marianne. How are you?
All good, but no one's talking.
Okay. Well, good. Well, that's fine. Hang out here. Do you want to share your story?
This is a tough one. I don't know.
I'll share with you.
Well, my dad died when I was 10,
That's a big story. Yes.
right? Yeah. What, how you reply to that?
Well, what did it mean to you? You know, here, I mean, I tell a story about my parents getting divorced when I was 6. So it was, you know, it was kind of catastrophic when you're a small child, right?
Have you used that in training?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
But wait till you finish the story. Yeah, I might not even tell it here. Well, if we have time, let's see, I got to watch the clock on here. So tell me a little bit about what happened when your dad passed away, and I'll share what happened on mine.
Well, I guess it's a feeling of loneliness, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah. And what's something that helped you get over it? Like when did you kind of start to see the light?
Time cures it all, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, eventually it starts to wear off. So in mine, you know, my parents got divorced when I was 6, and it turns out my dad was a doctor, and he fell in love with a cancer patient. He was a cancer doctor. So he fell in love with a cancer patient. But what they told the kids was, oh, she's going to die because she's a cancer patient. So when she dies, the parents are going to get back together again.
Oh no. And what happened? Can I ask?
Yeah, that doesn't, like, we're kids. We bought that hook, line, and sinker. And so she lived not 1 year, but 5 years.
Oh.
Unexpectedly, you know, she was diagnosed for 1 and she lived 5. And then when she finally passed away, of course, we're all sorry about that, but you know, hey, the family's getting back together. And then my mom started breaking down, and then we're like, oh, that's not happening.
John, come on.
But I can tell you, I mean, it's why relationships and team building is so important to me, right? Because of the traumatic experience, that's one of the things I obviously never wanted to do for my kids, and I wanted to make sure why communicating clearly is so important for me. And so that's why I've practiced the skill of facilitating and speaking. And yeah, that's the short version of it. One of the things I did learn, you know, too, from it, Marianne, was that, you know, after you get done being mad and hurt, you know, I just like, oh, I got it now. You know, as I got older, I finally realized that my parents were just doing the best with what they had.
I agree. And then you find yourself in situations that then the judging part, or the part that is mad, exactly, it completely turns, right, to understanding.
Yeah,
at
exactly. Least. Barbara Faga and Jenny Leslie, if you are here, feel free to unmute.
Thanks for sharing, John.
Hi.
Oh, you're welcome, Mary. Hi, Jenny. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks. I hope you're enjoying this session. Do you mind sharing a short story while we have time?
Sure. So when I was younger, I was always super awkward. So I actually had a very hard time talking or even publicly speaking. Like I would shake and stutter, and it was awful. And I actually overcame that when I went to a training and department role where I had to be the instructor. And what I found was, as a child, you fear ridicule and humiliation, but as an adult, you find out that everybody's just as goofy as yourself. And because you're able to relate to that goofiness and that awkwardness, it made it more comfortable in a setting. And that allowed people to connect with you and me. And that just made it easier to be able to really connect with my users and build that training experience that was a place of comfort in a safety zone.
Wow, Jenny, thank you so much for sharing. Where are you calling in from?
Ottawa, Ontario.
Ottawa, Ontario. You have about 30 seconds left. Anyone else want to share? I saw Ashley and Elizabeth joined in. Ashley, how are you doing? Yes? You want to let us know? You can hit us by chat too if you're coming in. Hi, Kim. Good to see you, Kim. Kim, of course, was with Training Magazine. Kim, do you have any challenging childhood stories you want to share? We have just a short amount of time. She might have to be working on she's hopping sessions. That's what she's doing. I know she needs to hop. Okay, great. Oh, good. Megan just joined us too. All right, well, people are going to come back here in 10 seconds, so let's hang out, and I'll close this session up. Go ahead and spotlight me, Karen.
We can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends behind. Cause your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well, they're no friends of mine. See, we can go where we want to, places they will never find. And we can act like we come from out of this world, leave the real one far behind.
Excellent. Welcome, everybody. So I hope each of you made a connection, right? And that you understood something about this class. I would just love, go to the chat right now. Tell me what's the 1 or 2 things that you're actually going to do, right? You know, it's training, right? It's not about what we learned. It's about what you actually do. And I would love to know what that. As I close, I just want to close with this story. So I can finish the story now about Yoshi. So Yoshi came in and started chatting. And then after she started chatting, right, she started unmuting her mic. And she started contributing in a class when she said she was clearly going to be muted. Then later on, I put her in an experience where we have a shared document. And she was put in a breakout room with 8 people. And when she came back, it turned out that she wrote 75% of the lines of this poem that the group was asked to write. And when I asked her about it, I said, well, first she said, I have a little bit of piece of poetry here. I have to actually get this out. And I'll read the rest of the poetry. But I said, why did you write so many lines? And she goes, this is my jam. This is what I'm really passionate about, was around that. I believe you know this quote, right? People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. So as I close with this, I'm going to close with the ending poem from Yoshi. And with that, we'll end our class. I will stay a little time for at the end here. If you have any other questions, of course, if you got to jump to your other class, totally understand. But here's the close of Yoshi's poem. Thank you, Mr. John, for making me feel safe. From the moment I logged in, I knew this is my place. I started chatting and turned my camera on. Psychological safety could help the whole human race. Please, let's give a round of applause for all of our people who work together with us, and Karen, our producer. I'm going to play a little bit of music. If you'd like to stay, now's the time to log off. And if you want to stay, I'll answer questions for a little bit as we go on here. Thank you, everybody, for staying here at Turn On the Damn Camera.
We can go if we want to. Night is young and so am I. And we can dress real neat from our hearts to our feet and surprise them with a victory cry. Say, we can act.
All right, I've got 5 minutes of after hours. Does anybody have any comments or questions? I'm open to them. Raise your hand, unmute your mic.
Oh, it's Nikki here.
Yeah, Nikki, go ahead. Actually, you know what? Let's going to turn off spotlights. Everyone click View Gallery. And we're going to see everyone. Go ahead, Nikki.
So apparently I do say sorry a lot. So our breakout room ended and I actually sent a message to the lady I was talking to saying, sorry, you got cut off. She's like, no need to say sorry. I'm like, I really do say sorry a lot. So I thought I'd share that whole experience.
Now that it's like all training too, awareness is 9/10 the challenge, right? Another battle. And now that yeah.
I'm going to be the rudest person on my team because I'm not going to say sorry at all.
So listen to that though. I think there's a way to be who you are without having to say sorry. In fact, I think it can actually help you, your personal brand, if you stop saying sorry so much and replace it with something else, such as acknowledgement.
I was going to say that. I'm sorry to interrupt. Thank you. Instead of saying sorry, thank you for waiting for me. You know, when I was running late. It's something I've been working on.
Yes, Cassie. I mean, genius idea. Genius idea. Cassie, some people have been working with me as a producer and they wonder, how am I so freaking patient? You know, because some of the speakers, it's always invariably something. Can't share my screen, can't play this video, computer sound's not turned on. And part of being that producer is just saying, yeah, it's okay, right? And you don't have to say sorry, right? Let's just figure out how to get it done. And most importantly, get it done correctly in front of the audience. Like make all your mistakes with me in a rehearsal. Just don't make them, you know, in front of the attendees. So Cassie, thank you so much for that. Let's go to Robin.
I love what Sharon Goza says. She's one of our ambassadors and works in the healthcare field. And she says, don't say you're sorry. We are all doing the best we can.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah, right. Just recognizing that and people going, oh, you're right. I was just doing my best, but I failed. And that's why I feel so bad. And so I'm turning off my camera. Right. Again, it's what you're right. Okay. I'm turning off my camera now. Or I
Oh,
said
John
too much,
Chen's
so now
quote.
I'm turning off my mute.
I just requoted John Chen.
Thank you for that, Sharon. Part of that, Robin actually, that's an important part too. All of us have it. It's called what I call the I'm out factor. Like after you do something, right? That like at some point you're just like, I'm out. And I've even done it too. Like I asked a question, all right, I raised my hand, I clicked raise hand. They tried to address me, but they never got to ask my question, right? And it never got answered. And I just turned off my camera, right? It's like the inverse of everything I said. If you're wondering why you got cameras off, right, then that's one of the things you need to look at, that somebody tried and took a risk to engage with you and failed, right? And that's why everybody else has got their cameras off. So that's something to look at. There's cultural factors, lots of other factors, but I can tell you that these things so far have universally worked for me in the past 19 months.
Joshua put a question in chat.
Yeah. Joshua says, with some of your activities and implementation of Silence, how do you battle with getting in all the required content and making the presentation more engaging? Number one is the silence is engaging, right? And what I mean is that let's just pretend, here's my hypothesis, is that the silence, eventually the extroverts will explode. Do you know what I mean? Right? Like I'll just sit here, right? And then I have this button. And so, and eventually somebody will come out and say something. And then what people learn is that the class will go faster. I'll get more content if I participate, if I engage. And so, Joshua, one of the other things that I do too is I work a lot on ending on time. As you can see, I ended right here today at 4:15 Eastern Standard Time. I'll do almost anything to end on time. And I can tell you, Joshua, I have actually taken a class and it has taken me 17 times to get that class to end on time. And that's adjusting, going, whoops, I tried to put too much in, right? Nope, you can't do it that way, like I can't engage. But, I'm actually really proud of today's class because we really got a lot of engagement with a lot of different people up. And I think that is way better. Like I spoke half of the time and I actually account for that, Joshua. I'd rather hear somebody else's experience than my old story. And so I bypassed a whole bunch of my stories so I could hear other people's. And I think when you do that, if you create participative or engaging design, I think you'll find that you might teach less material, but you'll be way more effective and impactful. So Joshua, I hope that helps. You can unmute if you have any other comments.
Yeah, it does help quite a bit. I guess my concern around that though is typically around I do a lot of onboarding, so required material versus that nobody actually wants to learn or know about. And so that sometimes is a hard.
I'm going to give this last tip, Joshua, because we all need to hop to our next thing. But and this one, it's like a video, right? Don't ever play a video in a virtual meeting. Send it to them and let them watch it in their own time. And onboarding might be the same way, Joshua. If it's required, go to that, do that, and then have them, when they come online, demonstrate they actually watched the video. Great example is I had a company meeting. It was a whole retreat, 50 people around the world. They said, we're going to play this video for a half hour. And I was like that was a first date, right thing. And I said, record the three of you and make it mandatory. And now take the 30 minutes in that virtual meeting and discuss what was in that video. It was amazing. The discussion was so much better. They all agreed. There was the founder, co-founder, and the executive coach in this program said that was a genius idea. It was so much better than what we thought. So those are all ways to create engagement. Again, I'm John Chen, author of Engaging Virtual Meetings and your lead producer. I hope all of you had a great time. Thanks for staying in the after hours. And I'm going to leave it here with this. Save the chat, and we'll see you at your next session. Have a great TechLearn 2021. And tell your friends about this session if they missed it. Thanks, everybody.
Everybody look at your hands. We can dance, everybody's taking the chance.